the end of the day, a 20-year-old has been silenced. After speaking her mind on the violence that's gripping Delhi University, Gurmehar Kaur, the daughter of a martyr, has now retreated. She's scared and she's scarred. After all, powerful personalities, whether it's government ministers, cricketers, film stars, you name it, they've all trolled her, they've mocked her, they've even questioned her patriotism. Is this what we've come down to, ladies and gentlemen, in our 70th year of independence? A country that gave the world the culture of Samvad and Vivad. The people who are proudly called the argumentative Indians. Today, a young girl cannot have a contrarian view without the fear of rape and death threats. Is this the India that our founding fathers fought so hard for? India at 9 begins right now. Gurmehar Kaur, the face of the nationalism versus free speech debate, calls it quits. She pleads to be left alone. She says she's leaving Delhi after being trolled and abused online. Whether it is government ministers, members of parliament, even some celebrity folks flaying Gurmehar for her protest, the opposition stands up united in defense. So do the students, by the way, of Delhi University. Student politics simmering in Delhi University over the nationalism debate. Hundreds of students and professors march in protest against the ABVP. The NSUI stages a day-long fast. They pitch it as a call for peace on campus. Ravi Shankar Prasad doesn't quite agree with his cabinet colleague Kiran Rijiju for questioning Gurmehar. He says ministers should not get involved in campus politics. It's a CNN News 18 exclusive. And we'll be joined by our full panel tonight on the show. Kanwalpreet Kaur is president of ISA at Delhi University. Veer Sanghvi, our resident commentator here on CNN News 18. Apurvanand, professor of the Hindi department in Delhi University. Janhui Ojha is a National Executive Council member of the ABVP. GVL Narasimha Rao, spokesperson of the BJP, and Jaiveer Shergill, spokesperson of the Congress. That's on our panel in just a couple of minutes. Well, that's our big focus here. The other headlines that we're tracking this Tuesday evening on India at 9. India is still the world's fastest growing economy despite demonetization. The October to December GDP growth has clocked in at 7%. That is below 7.4% of the last quarter, but it is way above projections. So, 20-year-old Gurmehar Kaur has been shocked and awed into submission. She's left the building, she's left the city, she's left the fight. But by saying what she did, she's already earned tens of thousands of admirers and supporters. She, in a sense, captures the spirit of the DU student today, wanting to take back their space, wanting to take back their campus. Today there was a massive students' rally carried out by Delhi University students. The ABVP is planning to counter that with a rally of their own come the 2nd of March. As politics becomes front and center, real issues that matter to students, issues like the withdrawal of non-net fellowship, the steamrolling of the credit system, the acceleration of privatization and bringing in foreign universities, issues that really matter to the students, that's now taken a backseat. A 20-year-old who stood up for the right to free speech, trolled, subjected to vicious misogyny and a smear campaign. Questions raised on her Indianness, even named unworthy of being her father's daughter.
शहीद की बेटी है तो वो शहीद का आत्मा भी रो रहा होगा कि बेटी को आज जो हमारे शहीदों के लाश पर जश्न मनाने वाला लोग गुमराह कर रहे हैं.
Till she threw in the towel and left the city. Please leave me alone. Stop spamming my wall and my phone. Gurmehar Kaur tweeted this before leaving. But the onslaught still rages, unchecked. Sportspersons, government ministers, and more ganging up against a 20-year-old college student who raised her voice against blind, jingoist nationalism.
उनके पिता ने बहुत बड़ा काम किया है, देश के लिए अपनी जान दी है, लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि उसकी बेटी जब जवान हो तो वो हमारा जो पड़ोसी देश है, जो हमारा दुश्मन देश है पाकिस्तान, उसको निर्दोष साबित करने की कोशिश करे.
Despite some slamming, the onslaught against the girl, despite the efforts to placate raw nerves with an FIR against her attackers. The overwhelming message that's been sent out is this: fall in line or else. The politics, the subversion, playing its age-old road roll game.
स्टूडेंट्स के लिए ऐसा करना बात ठीक नहीं है जी।
तो
इधर सरकार को चाहिए काम डाउन करे इसको। इसको बढ़ावा क्यों दे रहे हैं?
At the epicenter, on the streets of Delhi University, political mileage from the anti-national versus free speech debate, and massive security bandobast. Now the NSUI staging a march for peace. Netas jump in here as well. No less than JNU's Kanaya Kumar roped in to add some political weight. Amid national political agendas and bickering being unleashed on university campuses, have real concerns, real shortcomings been lost? In this context, does the voice of sanity, voices projecting the students' point of view and concern, have any more say left? That's the big debate tonight on India at 9. At the end of the day, should we all feel a collective sense of guilt? Because what has happened? We've collectively shut off the voice of a young girl, the voice of a 20-year-old. And that is on all of us. It's on the ABVP, it's on the BJP. As much as it is on them, it is also on all of us, the rest of society. Joining us on our Talking Point panel tonight, here in our studios, we've got Ram Subramaniam, a friend of Gurmeher, and also somebody who was actively involved in the production of these videos, and somebody who she referred to in her tweet today as she retreated from this fight, saying, for all the rest of the queries, we directed it to the voice of Ram. So he's the voice of Ram. He's joining us on our panel tonight. Veer Sanghvi, our resident commentator and senior journalist here on CNN News 18. Kanwalpreet Kaur is president of the ISA unit of Delhi University. Purvanand is professor at the Hindi department of Delhi University. Janvi Ojha, National Executive Council member of the JNU unit of the ABVP. Jaiveer Narasimha Rao, spokesperson of the BJP, and Jaiveer Shergill, spokesperson of the Congress. Ram, am I right in saying, or am I stretching it by saying that at the end of the day, the fact that a young 20-year-old girl's voice has been muzzled, as much as it is on the ABVP, as much as it is on the BJP and powerful ministers, celebrities like Sehwag and Huda, it's also on all of us. It's also on society.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. And it's something which we need to mull over, because I don't know how far this debate has gone.
No, we're just starting.
Okay, great. If I give you the timeline of what happened, and this is from my perspective, because I've been watching this as it came out, and I've been following it ever since Gurmeher posted the first picture on her profile. So it was about her stand against people threatening women with rape. So she had a problem with that. Everybody has a problem with that. She said it is not right. And she made a stand against that. It was a bit of a political stand because ABVP was involved in it. But then in this country, everything is political. Unless it gets political, there is no change happening.
So why then have they gone from that to taking her old video and taking one particular placard from that old video and saying, it's not Pakistan that killed my father, it's war that killed my father? That's what she's being crucified for today.
Yeah, but then this is again something which is not going to hold, because everybody knows today that it's just one placard from an entire video which makes more sense.
And you made the video, right?
Yes, I made the video.
And you stand by the entire video, you stand by that one placard. You're basically saying that this is sort of selectively taking out one placard and then pillorying her, crucifying her, because the wrong meaning has been sort of extracted out of it.
Yeah, because they wanted to deflect that entire issue. Now, what Virendra Sehwag has said is actually funny, but when you say it in context with what Gurmeher said in that placard, it's a sick joke.
Yeah, because her father died.
Her father died. It's a sick joke coming from someone, and everybody makes sick jokes. You know, let's not just make it like everybody makes. But this is something which happened online from a celebrity who's picking on a 20-year-old girl who is fighting for the rights of women who shouldn't get
and of fellow 20-year-old students. Yeah. Let me bring in Jaiveer Narasimha Rao as well as Janvi Ojha. You know, at the end of the day, what have we achieved in this whole thing, Jaiveer? At the end of the day, like I said, a 20-year-old young woman, her voice has been muzzled. That's all we've ended up achieving.
No, I think Zaka, I think we need to be a little more open while having a debate like this. I think she has a complete right to say whatever she wishes to say. But at the same time, I think everyone else has also a point of view. But anybody who has threatened her, anyone who abused her ought to be really taken to task, and the law of the land must prevail, because you have too much of this abuse happening across against everyone on the social media, and anyone who dares to really give this kind of a threat, rape threat, I think must be taken to task, whoever it is. I'm told he has nothing to do with ABVP. I don't know the identity of the person. It doesn't matter who he is. Certainly action must be taken against him. But I think it's a free space. It's a free media space.
One sec.
And you have an opinion, and everybody else has an opinion. Nobody is pouncing on anyone, targeting individuals.
One second. There's a problem in that narrative. It may be a free space. It's not an equal space. When a Minister of State for Home in the central government targets a 20-year-old and says who's polluting her mind, that's not an equal battle. That's an unequal battle. When a Virender Sehwag, a former cricketer, a celebrity, uses the bully pulpit of his Twitter account and speaks to his followers and mocks a dead soldier and his daughter, that's not an equal fight. That is,
no,
for want of a better phrase, JVL, that's bullying.
Nothing.
That's bullying.
There is nothing equal in this world. There is nothing equal in this world. And when you are in an open medium like this, I have X number of followers, somebody else has 10x followers, nothing stops him from reacting or commenting. Within the boundaries of free speech, anyone crossing that boundary, anyone who is actually advocating violence, or scaring somebody, I think has to be taken to task. But you can't say, I'm a 20-year-old, but only therefore 20-year-olds should comment on my comments.
I'll tell you why that's an unequal fight, and Veer, I want to bring in Veer as well. Here you have, technically at least, a junior minister in this government to whom the Delhi police reports. And I haven't seen a statement or a tweet from Mr. Rijiju condemning the police action that led to the violence, or at least the police looking the other way when the violence happened last week at Ramjas. Instead, he's more worried about, quote-unquote, who's polluting this young woman.
Yeah, I actually agree with Mr. Narasimha Rao. It is an equal space. Anybody has to have a say. So we're not saying that Mr. Rijiju has no right to free speech or whatever. We're just saying a more basic thing. Isn't this man ashamed of himself? He's a minister of state in the government of India. The Delhi police, which should be investigating threats against this woman, report to him. And what does he do? He resorts to trolling her, to calling her names, to making fun of her, saying that her mind has been polluted. This is a minister who now the BJP is furiously backtracking, is beginning to seem like less sensible than Ravi Shankar Prasad, which is a considerable achievement. What about people like Virender Sehwag? I mean, the man is an icon. He's a man all of us look up to and admire. He's reduced to doing this. Let's have some sense of proportion, guys. Of course you have freedom of speech, but this is the 20-year-old girl. She has spoken her mind. Whether she lost her father or not, let's leave that aside. She's just a girl with a right to a free opinion. And here are all you guys, national icons, actors, pahalwans, ministers, and you're piling onto her? You guys should be ashamed of yourselves.
Janvi? I mean, leave politics aside, right? Leave politics aside. I mean, everything, like Ram said, everything in this country is political, and it's easy to make it political. Let me for a moment ask you as a woman, right? Do you agree with all these threats that have been issued just because Gurmehar had a different point of view? Whether it's rape threats or death threats?
As a woman, if I speak, the first thing is that with all due respect to her father and the supreme sacrifice he did, there are points I disagree with her. But if I tell you about my own Facebook profile, they are all filled with abuses in Hindi and English just because I speak my own mind. And this is not something new. Misogyny is not something new. And it is not a problem of our Twitter or Facebook or India. It's a problem worldwide. If a woman speaks her mind, she is bound to get these kind of abuses and threats. This is not something new. And I don't know when these things are going to be okay. What Gurmehar said, I'll tell you point wise. First thing she said was she's not afraid of ABVP. I am saying nobody must be. We are not Communist Party who are killing ABVP activists in Kerala and Bengal. We do not kill people. We are ABVP. We are from 68 years and we are not supporting, we are not endorsing any kind of violence.
What about the violence that happened in DU? No, one second. You can't, one second, Janvi, one second.
I can talk about
Janvi, one second, Janvi. You're conveniently, hang on a second,
I am not endorsing,
hang on a second.
I'm absolutely not endorsing violence in any of the ways.
I have an interjection. There was violence that happened at the Ramjas campus. ABVP folks are alleged to have been involved in that violence. You can't just wash your hands off that. We're playing those pictures. I
am absolutely not washing my hands off. I'm not disagreeing with you. That's the point. I'm not disagreeing with you. I am just telling, a simple, honest question is there. Is campus violence new in student politics? I'm not endorsing violence at all. First thing, let's be clear about this. But is violence new in the campus, in student politics? No. Things happen. And what happened here was, things happened from both of the sides. I'm not endorsing violence at all, but I'm just asking
it doesn't
why
make it
people
right.
went from JNU to
you are
DU
almost
for
saying
just
that
doing this fight.
It's okay because
what
things
happened
happen.
was peaceful. Why this thing happened on 22nd?
Doesn't
Why
make
people
it
went
right.
there just to fight? Just to fight.
Just because you say that campus violence has always been there, it doesn't make it right.
I'm definitely not saying it is right. But the point is, why anti-national sloganing was done?
Let me get Professor
What kind
Apurvanand.
of guerrilla war is happening here? The same thing happened in JNU. The same thing is happening in DU. They do anti-national sloganing.
Nobody, by the way, one second. Nobody, by the way, is condoning those slogans, okay? Nobody, by the way, is encouraging those slogans. Nobody, by the way, is condoning those slogans. But Professor Apurvanand, I think the fundamental difference, one second, Professor Apurvanand, the fundamental difference now and what we saw in the episode in JNU, essentially in the last 2.5 years, is that campus politics has always been there, campus violence to some extent has also been there, as Janvi says. The difference is you have a political party that's in power and a student organization that's from that same ideological parivar as the ruling party, which now feels that they can get away with violence and nothing will happen to them. FIRs will not get registered. Charge sheets will not be filed. The case will not go to trial. The guilty will not be punished. They are emboldened by the fact that they have a party that's in power which will not take action against them. That's the difference.
I agree with you. And as a teacher, it's a very sad day for me that a student of my university had to leave the city because she was told, no less than by the minister, who should in fact be looking after her safety. But instead he chose to attack her. That is unprecedented. I have been myself a student activist, and we have waved black flag against Indira Gandhi, written against her, but we never faced such vicious attack from the government. So this is for the first time in independent India that the government is coming down on the students, on the teachers. Central ministers are issuing statements. Powerful MPs of the ruling party are threatening students and teachers, and our lies are being spread. So let me clarify that it doesn't concern only Ramjas. What happened some months back at our campus when Duta president was addressing a meeting of teachers, one of the ABVP leaders came to her, pointed fingers at her and said, "Budhiya, tu pehle Bharat Mata ki jai bol." Now this is the level to which ABVP has stooped, and I'm sad. I'm sad for them because they are my students.
Okay.
And this happened before our eyes, that they are abusing our president. Let me clarify and put it in perspective, that it's not Delhi University, it's Jodhpur, Jai Narayan Vyas, Jodhpur University, Mohanlal Sukhadia University, Central University of Haryana, Central University of Jharkhand, everywhere, Pune University, everywhere the footprint of ABVP is there. They are attacking, intimidating, teachers, students, forcing principals, vice chancellor to cancel programs, forcing police to lodge FIRs,
for a quick rebuttal on that. Let me get Jaiveer for a quick rebuttal on that.
No, let me tell you, universities are being
systematically
taken over.
Okay, systematically universities are being taken over. GVL, that is the allegation. He's even compared what is happening in universities to what happened in Iran just ahead of the Islamic Revolution or post the Islamic Revolution. But you know, GVL, the fact is that what we are seeing in universities is if there are students or teachers who have a differing political point of view, you come down hard on them like a ton of bricks, even using violence as a legitimate political tool.
No, Zaka, I think it really really surprises me that ABVP has been used as a punching bag by all the people who have really had a field day in college campuses. It's only on college campuses where the leftist ideology and the Nehruvian ideology has survived, because they have filled people, including faculty members, with that kind of ideological persuasion, and they cannot stand the contrarian viewpoint of the ABVP. So it is the ABVP which has been consistently been targeted, and because the BJP is ruling in the country, they think they can use this to advance their intolerance bogey. I think it's nothing but a political strategy. And there are vested interests when Jaitley talks about the alliance of the subversion. So this is certainly a larger game plan to target the
let me get Jaiveer to respond to that.
Let me get Jaiveer. Succeeded so far, and it will not succeed. And if you run this for 2 more days, if this campaign runs for 2 more days, you will see one of the big mega khans from the film industry jumping into it, and it will carry on for another 10 days.
I don't think, given what
the UP elections get completed.
I don't think, given what happened last time, any of the khans are interested in jumping in.
Jump into it.
Okay, let me get Jaiveer to respond to this. Jaiveer, the fact is that there has been a clique of leftist intellectuals, of so-called centrist Nehruvian intellectuals, that's been sort of ruling the roost in most of our universities for many years now. If the ABVP and the BJP, with using the political help of the BJP, is trying to challenge that hegemony, as it were, then where's the problem in that?
Zaka, the problem lies with the manner and the methodology this entire thing has panned out. First, I think this entire episode has exposed the government's level of insecurity and hypocrisy. On one hand, we have a Prime Minister who talks about Beti Bachao, and his own ministers are threatening and intimidating a martyr's Beti, and he's a mute spectator. I saw, I think you tweeted also, your channel did an interview. Her grandfather is asking one simple question. Yeah. What wrong has my daughter done that she is being branded as an anti-national? And I don't agree with your previous panelists, Mr. Veer Sanghvi and Mr. Rao, when he says Mr. Riju enjoys a free space. He does not. The government ministers have to rely, they are ministers of India. They are not ministers of ABVP. The government cannot take sides. Their prime duty is to protect the rights of the citizens. Yesterday, the government should have comforted and supported Gurmehar rather than accusing of her mind being polluted. They don't enjoy a free space in such a scenario, I'm sorry to say. And look at the pattern. There is a pattern. Okay. Whenever anybody criticizes the government or their affiliated organization, BJP and its army of trolls hounds them, victimizes them till they give up. Like Gurmehar had to, I'm sorry to say, give up today and leave Delhi. Today, her exit proved that the government is failing the constitution of this country. Okay, the government is failing to protect a right of a 20-year-old.
I'm going to play out that conversation that we had with Gurmehar's grandfather, and it's a very, very touching one, a very poignant one, in just a moment. But Kanwalpreet Kaur wants to come in, and she represents ISA. I mean, the way this whole narrative has been portrayed, Kanwalpreet, is that, oh, this is essentially a fight between left and right. That there was violence, and there was violence from both sides. And this is what happens when one ideology tries to reclaim the space from another hegemony, as it were, which is what GVL is saying, that the leftists and the centrists have always had a hegemony in our universities.
No, see, the university space right now is clearly not divided between left and right. It is between the common students and professors who are on one side, who are repeatedly stating that we are seeing this clear pattern in our university and across universities where when you don't agree with Parishad, they will come up with their gundas and they will beat you. Parishad has become a censor board in our university where they try to issue they try to issue you these diktats that okay, you are having this program, we don't agree with this program, we don't like this particular speaker, and we will come and we will vandalize it, we will injure you. I mean, see the pattern. Professor Chaman Lal was invited in our university to give a talk on Bhagat Singh. That was not about anti-nationalism and nationalism. Why that talk was vandalized? Why our professors are attacked repeatedly by ABVP? It is clearly not about left and right. And what happened with Gurmeher? I mean, she's a very good friend of mine at a very personal level. What happened with them? She was hounded by these people. And this is what they are doing in our university right now. In Ramdas College, repeatedly common students are being picked up. Right now, today, after 5,000 students marched in the campus against the Gundaism of the Parishad, our activists, when they were going back at Vishwavidyalaya metro station, two of the Parishad people beated them up again with the belts, and now the FIR is being lodged in Maurice Nagar police station. Now this is the complete pattern where you are shutting the voices of the common students and professors.
You have evidence of this? Kanwalpreet, one second. You have evidence of this?
Yes, the FIR is there. Yes, the FIR is there, and there is a video that is... Yeah, there is a video right now. I have that video. I don't have my phone. It's there on the Facebook.
Okay.
Where the activists, that activist is actually the president of Venkateshwara College from ABVP. And he is beating up people after the march. I mean, this is the sort of violence that they are creating in our university. And the same violence was inflicted on women.
I'd be very interested if you have that video. I'd be very interested in seeing that video.
Yeah.
But let me play out that conversation. Let me play out that conversation that our reporter Jyoti Kamal had with Gurmeher's grandfather. He too has been in the defense forces, and he says, you know, this whole business of issuing certificates of nationalism and patriotism, and he said this in a very rustic fashion, and I'm paraphrasing what he said. He said, we're Punjabis. Our entire family has been in the armed forces. Don't teach us nationalism. Can I play that, a short, maybe 30 seconds of that conversation, and then I'm going to come back to our panelists.
पंजाबी लोग तो पक्के कंट्री के लिए अपना जीवन वार देते हैं। जो अब ऐसे बात कर रहे हैं उनको क्या बोलें, उनकी जितनी समझ है वो उतनी बात कर रहे हैं।
आप ये समझते हैं कि उन्होंने बिल्कुल ठीक स्टैंड लिया, उन्होंने जो बात की बिल्कुल ठीक बात की, इसके बारे में आपका क्या कहना है?
जो उसने बात की है वो तो मतलब स्टूडेंट्स के लिए की है ना जी। पे स्टूडेंट्स का जो यूनिवर्सिटीज में ऐसे दंगे फसाद होते हैं वो ना हो। ये तो गवर्नमेंट को चाहिए ना, इसको बढ़ावा ना दे, उसको रोके। वो इसको इतना बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं लेकिन उसको वो काम डाउन करने की कोशिश नहीं कर रहे।
लेकिन जो कुछ हो रहा है इससे आपको कोई लग रहा है कि कोई प्रेशर है गुरमेहर के ऊपर, कोई डर जैसी फीलिंग हो रही है आपको?
ठीक नहीं हो रहा, ये तो ठीक नहीं हो रहा, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए। स्टूडेंट्स के लिए ऐसा करना बात ठीक नहीं है जी। तो सरकार को चाहिए काम डाउन करे इसको। इसको बढ़ावा क्यों दे रहे हैं?
JVL, I mean, the point that he's making is the government should actually be trying to diffuse the situation. Instead, on the contrary, the government is actually fanning the flames.
No, I think that's a very inaccurate accusation, Zaka, because none of our leaders have visited any of the campuses. Whereas at the drop of a hat, you have seen how leaders of the Congress, Communists, and Sitaram Yechuri, D. Raja, they were all on the student campuses trying to inflame, trying to create an inflammatory situation. The same thing was done in Central University, where leaders like Rahul Gandhi went repeatedly because they wanted to be a part of that so-called sentiment. So I think it's actually an alliance of subversion. We certainly strongly feel so. And the Minister of Home, I think he has a national duty. He has to ensure that the security forces, their morale is not hurt. So when he feels that somebody's comments could actually catch wildfire. One second, let me complete just one line.
Okay, finish.
Just let me finish. Yeah. So I have heard what she said, or I've seen what she said on Twitter or Facebook, and honestly, as a person, individual, I think it's absolutely fine. It's for an individual who has lost her father. She can have any view. I don't think we are here to really justify her view or to criticize it. But for a minister who wants to see that this does not spread like wildfire, and the morale does not come down, and people start blaming the government for fighting a war at the borders, or fighting a warlike situation at the border, possibly he felt this was actually
how do you
like
come to that
wildfire.
conclusion? How do you come to that conclusion that
Possibly.
a placard or a 3-minute video will reduce the morale of our forces? I mean, surely our forces are motivated by ideals and things much bigger than that.
Facebook post, one Facebook post by a BSF Jawan about the substandard quality of food. Did it not create a furor on a national scale?
Well, you should
So why
actually
are
be
we
inquiring.
undermining the
You
importance
should
of
actually
one
be
Facebook
inquiring
post?
the
That was a
quality of
Facebook
food.
post.
You should actually be
It was
inquiring the
done.
quality of food. But Veer, I mean,
That
this
was
whole
done.
thing
was
that
definitely done.
whether it's slogan shouting kids in JNU or a Gurmeher holding up a bunch of placards can suddenly become a national security threat. I mean, I can't wrap my head around it.
I think it's an interesting view of the Indian armed forces that they are so insecure that if a kid who's 20 years old at LSR writes something on Facebook or puts up a placard, the entire Indian army is totally demoralized and worried, and we must take action. I mean, it's an interesting view. It's Mr. Narasimha Rao's own view. I don't think I need to say much more about that. We know what the Indian army is like. We know what it's worth. But what worries me and what intrigues me, I think, about this position the BJP is taking and the government is taking is why? What have they gained from doing this, apart from projecting the ABVP, who may well be the innocent party, maybe the SFI and the Communist Students' Unions are as bad, but they've done huge damage to the image of the ABVP nationally because they're coming across as gundas, perhaps unfairly. They've done huge damage to their own image. They're coming across as a totalitarian state that can take no dissent. Even a Facebook post or a placard put up by a 20-year-old is enough to get ministers agitated. You begin to wonder, this is a majority government. This is a government that has no threat to it. These are armed forces that we are proud of. Why are these guys getting so hysterical? It makes no sense. What are they frightened of? Why are they so insecure?
What if this is a deliberate ploy? Because, I mean, nobody wants to be branded an anti-national. Nobody wants to be seen as on the other side. I mean, nobody wants to be seen as speaking against the Indian army. What if this is a deliberate sort of binary, reductionist binary, where you have to choose whether you're with us or against us, and that it's basically a false choice?
Yep.
To people. So it's forcing people to say, okay, I'm also a nationalist. I don't want to be branded any less a nationalist than the fellow next door.
Yeah, I think the problem is they're defining nationalists with really limited intelligence. That is the problem, which is, I don't know how to say this, because if putting up, like you said, they're putting up a post like with a picture on it that has something to do with an organization that is a student political body that has nothing to do with the Indian army, and as we said, like if that is going to make the Indian army insecure, I don't know what to say. It is just bananas.
Janvi, I mean, you're using the Indian army and the name of the Indian army for this false notion that somehow a bunch of placards or slogans will undermine their morale.
As ABVP have not given any statement on Kaur, as well as we have already filed an FIR, whoever have given death threats and rape threats to her, we have already filed an FIR, and none of the office bearers have done this. I am assuring you about this. ABVP does not teach us about this. There is a 68 years old organization which works for student welfare. The another thing is, let's talk about as sir said, that what is nationalism, what is anti-nationalism. One thing is for sure, sir, there must be debate on nationalism, but one thing is sure, when Buxar Mange Azadi and Kashmir Mange Azadi slogans are being chanted into our campuses, this is something to be concerned for. This just cannot be.
Hang on.
Hang on.
No, hang on. First of all, one second, Janvi. First of all, as far as I know, there is no evidence of such slogans having been uttered at the Delhi University campus. Number one.
That's the
number
problem.
two. One second. Number two.
Videos are viral on Facebook.
One second.
These slogan videos are viral on Facebook.
Just because they're viral on Facebook, it doesn't mean it's genuine. We've seen.
This is nothing for
one sec.
contest or anything. This is
our viewers will remember this, Janvi,
Yeah,
that
this is
there were
genuine.
videos from JNU also, which certain news channels also ran, which turned out to be doctored. So let's not get into the doctored footage versus original footage debate. That's a slippery slope. Let me go back to Jaiveer Shergill.
I'm telling you the facts, sir.
No. The
9
point is
videos
simply
were
this.
There, out
The
of
point
them,
is
4
simply
were
this.
doctors.
No, 1 second.
9 videos were there, 4 of them were doctors. And let's not talk about that because the case is going on. ABVP believes on judiciary.
The point is,
on judiciary.
even
Let
if those
things go
slogans were
take their
raised,
own
right?
course.
Even if those slogans were raised, and however reprehensible and disgusting those slogans are, and you and I and any right-thinking Indian does not agree with those slogans, that doesn't amount to sedition. That doesn't amount to giving somebody a license to throw stones at that person who's shouting those slogans. That doesn't amount to somebody taking the law in his or her own hands to prove that, oh yes, I'm a patriot, that guy is a traitor. That's not how civil society works. That's not how rule of law works.
Absolutely, Zaka. The point is, nobody under the garb of nationalism can take their law into their own hands and issue nationalism certificate. And look at the whole hypocrisy in this. If today Indian government releases 39 prisoners as a goodwill gesture to Pakistan, that is fine. But if Gurmeher wants peace with Pakistan, then her mind is polluted. Number 2, if RSS chief on 9 September 2015 says Pakistan is like a brother, he is lauded by ministers, not given advices by likes of Kiran Rijiju. But if Gurmeher says that her father was killed in a war or she wants with Pakistan, she is hounded and victimized. Now that shows that BJP has no affiliation, love for nationalism. It's merely a plot to plant seeds of hate and divisive politics under the garb of pseudo-nationalism. Delhi police has not filed a charge sheet against Kanhaiya for the past 1 year. 1 year. Why is ABVP not protesting against Delhi police? Their nationalism goes to sleep, a lumber sleep, when they are so disturbed and perturbed
you want to
about
respond to that
nationalism.
quickly? Despite these slogans having been raised, as has been alleged for the last 1 year, no charge sheet has been
We are
filed.
not going to in that thing. We know sloganings were done. I was myself there when sloganings were happening.
Let the Delhi police file a charge sheet.
About that. I know what happened in JNU and out of 9 videos, 4 were doctors.
Why is the Delhi police not filing a charge sheet?
Let's talk about 5 correct videos.
Why is the Delhi police not filing a charge sheet? It's been over a year.
I am from ABVP. I am not from Delhi police. I can only ask Delhi police to fasten their own the work speed.
Okay.
I am from ABVP. I can only say sloganings happen.
Again, I keep going back.
Take its own way.
I cannot
talk about other people. Why are they not doing this and that?
I keep going back to Kiran Rijiju because technically he is the head of the Delhi police in that sense, at least. He's not worried about the charge sheet.
What we are doing, we have been doing from last 68 years.
I've heard you.
Not from last 2.5 years.
I've heard you. He's not so much worried about the charge sheet not being filed against Kanhaiya Kumar and others who allegedly raised anti-national slogans, even though it's been a year, but he's worried about what's polluting a young girl's mind. But Kanwalpreet Kaur, the real issue, and I want to ask this to both Professor Apurvanand as well as to Kanwalpreet Kaur, in this whole nationalist, anti-national debate, what is actually important to students and universities is getting lost in this din, whether it's the cutting down of non-net fellowships, whether it's the steamrolling of the credit system, which, as I understand, not too many students or teachers like, whether it is this hurry towards privatization of universities, bringing in foreign universities. These are issues that really matter to the state of higher education in our country. These are issues that really matter to students. That's gotten relegated to the back burner.
Yeah, see, basically, since past 2 years, we have been fighting against this course structure that was imposed on us, that is called choice-based credit system, where you have this credit system and the ABVP that is sitting in the student union is supportive of that, the course structure. That course structure is going to dilute our own honors paper, because if you come to Delhi University specifically, for example, if I am a student of psychology, so I'll be studying like 32 honors paper in my first semester. But now, because of this structure, my whole, my course, the main course that I am here to study has been diluted. My quality of papers has been reduced. So now students were protesting against that. Now recently in Delhi University, St. Stephen has passed that it will become an autonomous institution.
Okay.
You know, without taking into the students who are protesting there and professors, it has just it has just hurriedly passed that it is now an autonomous institution. It will have no connections with DU as such. Now this is also one step towards privatization. Whatever the students are protesting here, what we see that ABVP is in nexus with the administration, is imposing all those diluted course structures on us, be it the UGC gazetted notification in JNU, which is going to cut massive, which is going to have a massive seat cut in, MPhil, PhD, or be it right now in Delhi University from
FYUP, if you remember.
If
you remember, FYUP, we fought against it.
Or NSUI, whoever is in the union, they are supporting the policies of the government which is doing it.
Professor
And now,
Apurvanand,
whenever we are
Professor
actually
Apurvanand,
holding any program, they vandalize.
Is this sort of nationalist, anti-national sort of a cover, a facade to take away the real issue, the issues that matter to the students, whether it's on non-net fellowship, whether it's the cut of grants? Those are the issues that really matter.
There's so many things in DU that are going on. And
I entirely agree. I entirely agree with you. These are the real issues, and universities are being downsized. Delhi University has more than 4,000 posts lying vacant for last 5 years.
That's right.
Budget has been cut 50%. So this is the situation Indian university system is facing. And to add to it, what's happening, the space of free inquiry and autonomy is shrinking fast. MHRD, Minister of Human Resource Development, is taking over UGC. UGC is practically, University Grant Commission is practically a doormat of MHRD. So this is the pitiable situation to which we have fallen. And now, what are we talking about? Some students raising slogans and the full might of state falling down on them.
Okay.
Full might of state on slogans.
GVL, you want to respond to that? This whole thing is just a diversionary tactic.
Universities are facing now.
A diversionary tactic from the real issues that universities are facing, whether it's cut of grants, whether it is restrictions on academic freedom, whether it's steamrolling the credit system.
Universities are being killed systematically. Let me put that. Universities are being killed systematically.
To me, it sounds very bizarre.
Why?
Then why are professors who are appearing on all television channels only supporting anti-national slogans? They are rallying all the time behind Umar Khalid and Kanhaiya Kumar, becoming his cheerleaders, and I don't see them speaking about these issues in any platform. They are only fueling these campus protests. And if anyone, it is the faculty who are involved in such political fights who should be ashamed, and who should actually stop doing this and do their work.
Professor?
Let students run their politics.
Why
are professors joining? No. Why are they siding with student
becoming party to student politics?
Why are they taking up political pitched battles?
Professor?
Is this their job? I think I am paying my tax money. I'm paying their salary, and I don't want them to be associated with political parties.
Professor, yeah.
I am being party to my students. I might disagree with them. I might disagree with Umar Khalid. I might disagree with Shaila Rashid. But I will defend their right to have their mind and their say. So that is the duty as a teacher towards my students. And as a teacher, it's my duty to expose my students to all kinds of worldviews and allow them to have their own mind, their own opinion.
Okay.
So I trust the intelligence of youth. That is what I do, and that is my duty. It is their right to know.
You are not giving them
it is their right to know.
Please, GVL, come on. Let's not get personal here. I mean,
no, I think the academia,
it is their right to know.
The faculty, I think, has a very negative role in this. I think they should, rather than becoming neutral to ideological opinion, they have most of them have political clear leaning, political ideology.
University
they all
should
belong
be
to a particular persuasion and thought, and they want to impose it on their students. Otherwise, why are left organizations surviving on college campuses and they have disappeared everywhere in the world?
A university. I've got to wrap up.
Persisting on campuses.
I've got to wrap up.
It is these faculty members who are nurturing. This is not.
I'll say this much. I'll say this much. A university has to be. One second. I've got to wrap up. GVL, time out. I'll say this much. A university has to be a breeding ground for ideas. And I'll conclude by saying and paraphrasing what the Ramjas principal said. And by the way, he's retiring in the next few days. It's sad that this, violence that happened on the campus there will be a big blot on his record. He said, don't confront people, confront ideas. So if the right or the left has new ideas, bring it out there, put it out there in the university campus, let it be a crucible for new ideas. Don't attack people, attack ideas. I'm going to thank all my guests, Jaiveer Shergill, Jaiveer Shergill, Janvi, Professor Apurvanand, Kanwalpreet Kaur, Veer Sanghvi and Ram Subramaniam. Thank you very much for joining us on our Talking Point. I'm going to take a quick break here on the program. When we come back, Shatrughan Sinha, sidelined in the BJP, making yet another veiled attack at Prime Minister Modi. We'll get you details of that when India at 9 returns. We're back in 2 minutes. Back in our segment Battle for the States, has Shatrughan Sinha made another veiled attack at Prime Minister Modi? Shatrughan Sinha today took to Twitter to hit out at author Chetan Bhagat for comparing Rahul Gandhi to L.K. Advani. But in the process, he's revealed far more. Shatrughan Sinha claims that L.K. Advani was eased out because of the insecurities of some people. Now, this is what Shatrughan Sinha tweeted, and I quote, "Was he," which is a reference to L.K. Advani, "really removed because he did not work enough, or was he not allowed to work any further and eased out of the scene because some of our people, out of fears, complexes, insecurities, or maybe even vested interests, did not want him to be on the scene?" Meanwhile, BSP Chief Mayawati is seeking votes for jailed gangster-turned-politician Mukhtar Ansari. She says that Ansari's victory will erase his Bahubali image. Mukhtar Ansari, who faces as many as 40 criminal cases, including those of murder and kidnapping, recently joined the BSP after the merger of his Qawmi Ekta Dal with the SP fell through. The BSP has fielded him from Mao. He was given custody parole by a trial court from the 16th of February to the 4th of March to let him campaign in the election. But the Delhi High Court, however, has set aside that order.
मुझे श्री मुख्तार व अफजाल अंसारी परिवार पर भी ये पूरा भरोसा है कि वे आपके इस खासकर पूर्वांचल क्षेत्र में तो इनको खुद ही ऑक्सीजन में ले आएंगे, जिनको यहाँ बीजेपी व सपा का बबुआ भी माफिया व बाहुबली बताते हुए थकते नहीं हैं.
Election trail moves from west to east Uttar Pradesh. The importance of the Muslim vote bank remains intact. The minority votes are expected to emerge as the deciding factor in the districts of Ghazipur, Mao, Azamgarh, Mirzapur and Balia in the 6th phase of polling that is due on the 4th of March. Akhilesh faces a challenge in appealing to the minorities in Purvanchal in these final 2 phases. He may regret, though, calling off the merger with Mukhtar Ansari's Qawmi Ekta Dal. Ansari then tied up with Mayawati's BSP. His son Abbas, who is contesting for the first time, spoke to my colleague Shreya Dhondial.
आप बीएसपी के टिकट से लड़ रहे हैं, लेकिन कहा जा रहा है that you and your father were the reason behind this, all the trouble in the समाजवादी पार्टी. ये सही है?
देखिए, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. हम लोगों को तो बलि का बकरा बनाया है. सच में तो वो अंतरकला थी ही, पारिवारिक अंतरकला थी. बहन जी ने ये बड़ा साफ स्पष्ट लफ्जों में कहा था कि मैं कोई गलत होता है तो उसे पार्टी से निकाल देती हूं, मगर उसे सुधरने का मौका भी देती हूं. आज इस पार्टी में शामिल होने का मकसद ये था कि उत्तर प्रदेश में बढ़ती हुई सांप्रदायिक ताकत को रोका जा सके. सांप्रदायिक ताकत मतलब भारतीय जनता पार्टी. अभी तक तो मंदिरों मस्जिद की लड़ाई होती थी, अब तो कब्रिस्तान और शमशान भी लड़ने लगे हैं. मुकदमे लगने और मुकदमे सिद्ध होने में बहुत फर्क. क्या आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री पे मुकदमे नहीं थे? वो प्रधानमंत्री बन सकते हैं, हम विधायक बनते हैं तो ये लोगों को दिक्कत है.
And in case you want to check out more of those exclusive conversations with the big name candidates up ahead in the UP elections. You can go to our website, news18.com. From me, Zaka, Jacob, and the rest of the team, thanks for your time. On the other side, Bhupendra Chaubey with the Big 5 at 10.